Hello everybody, welcome to Flight Past. My name is Simon. Good to see you. We are in the Huey. We are going to be flying around Belgium and continuing our talk on the Battle of Waterloo and the 100 days basically. If you've been following us so far, we've been streaming live on Twitch and we've been putting videos up on YouTube. Hello to everybody today on live on YouTube as well. I'm going to try and see if we can stream on both. Had a few issues with, especially with the new update with Microsoft Flight Simulator, with the bandwidth and stuff like that. So it's always been a little bit iffy trying to stream to two places at once. But we are here now. We are, as I say, been doing the 100 days of the Napoleonic campaign. If you're new to the channel, Flight Past is me, Simon, the amateur historian. Like a little bit of Napoleonic warfare, like a little bit of Second World War. I like also Flight Simulator. And when I saw that Microsoft Flight Simulator was basically this one-to-one recreation of the planet using satellite imagery, I thought this is interesting because there's a guy out there called Cowtown who is doing streaming on the on Flight Simulator. There's podcasts like The Rest is History and We Have Ways of Making You Talk, and there was the guys from the We Have Ways of Making You Talk, James Holland and Al Murray, who were doing the Walking the Grounds series. And if you haven't seen that, go and check that out because they're brilliant. I thought, okay, well, let's do something in where I can try to combine all those things. So I've been flying around in the Huey helicopter, looking at. We've looked at D-Day, and now we're looking at the 100 days campaign, or I think it's just called the 100 days. If you're so, this is where we've been. We started off down. There at the bottom in Elba, and I find that this map is easier to see the place names on. That's why I use this one to begin with. So we started off down here in Elba, and we moved up from the Gulf of Juan, which is this place here. This is where Napoleon lands in the 1st of March 1815, and we followed his trek across the Alps because he was trying to avoid Marseille and the Provence region. He came up to Grenoble, and so from Grenoble then to Lyon, and Lyon eventually into Paris. If you want to check out that, this whole playlist is now on YouTube. Go and check it out. You can follow along and catch up with the story. We followed then Napoleon from Paris, and we got to the point where he has got set up his headquarters at this place here. It's called Avesnes sur Helpe. I probably killed that pronunciation, and I will do it all the time. This is where Napoleon has got to. And the date is around about the 14th of June, 1815. We've got the forces of the Allies in Belgium are the Prussians, and they're on the right-hand side of this map. They're led by Blücher, whose headquarters is in Liège, and he will move his headquarters to Namur. And you've got Wellington, who's commanding the Anglo-Dutch army, and they're more stationed to the west-hand side of this map and to the southwest. And there's a line between the two armies, which is basically north-south from Brussels to Charleroi, which is just in the middle here. So if you're new to the channel, what we do is we jump into the Huey and we fly around and have a look at this this area, And what I will want to do is just going to find some places of interest. We'll start off down here at Beaumont. This is the... Actually, we could go to find Avesnes itself. Yes, it's here. So let's start off where Napoleon is now, and we'll head up to Brussels for now, and we'll sort of set that as a sort of a target. And the places where we want to check out on the way will be somewhere like Beaumont. This is where the French will cross the border. We could probably check out a few of the places around here. Thuin would be a good place possibly to go to. We'll head up to Charleroi here. We'll head then to Fleurius, and then we can then find the village of Ligny, which is here. And then on the way up, we'll cross over to a set of crossroads, which is called Quatre Bras. Now, always find it difficult to find this place. There we go. And this is Quatre Bras here. So we'll head there and then up to a place called Genappe. And then when we get, we'll then head to, we'll have a look at Place Noire. And we can then probably just check out the battlefield a little bit, the actual battlefield of Waterloo. And then we'll head into Brussels. So, if you want to join me, I am on the European West server, and you've got Microsoft Flight Simulator, so you'll see yourself on this in the actual stream. You can also join me in chat. Feel free to chat. You'll pop up on the left-hand side. If we get going, I'll show you. So you'll pop up on the left-hand side if you're in chat. And you can basically be my co-pilot. Hello, Guy. Guy, you're behind me. I think you mean... Oh, no, you're not. We don't have anyone today. I'm sorry, you're not behind me. But as you can see, Guy, thank you very much for doing that, because you can actually see where you will pop up. So you guys are going to be my co-pilot. And like I've said in previous streams, you're going to need to keep an eye on me, because I tend to crash into things when I'm reading my notes. So we're at the place. This is Avesnes, the small town on the northern border of France and between France and Belgium. And this is where Napoleon will create his headquarters to begin with. Now, what we are doing, or have been doing, is looking at the different armies, looking at their numbers. And when the last stream we got to, we had just finished looking at the setup, basically, of the French army. So we've done Britain, we've done Prussia, and we've done French. So today what I wanted to do was we do fly this route. We're getting to know the area, we're getting to know the battlefield, the campaign area. Just going to talk a little bit about tactics and the equipment that the armies have, so that when we get to ride with Napoleon up these roads, dividing our army into 3 columns and invading into Belgium, we'll know a little bit more about his abilities, his capabilities of his army, his background of himself, and the different people involved. So let's start by talking about the actual armies, the tactics that were involved. Now, Wellington, he's got an army that's a veteran army. It's not like the French or the Prussian army. There's no conscripts. The British law at the time said that the militias couldn't come out of Britain, so he could only have a professional army, basically, and Britain have always had these sort of small expeditionary style armies. Most of their resources were actually in the navy, but they were prepared to pay their allies on the continent for raising their armies. But the qualities of Wellington's armies tends to be a little bit more have like a steadfast quality to them. And what happened was there was a minor battle back in 1806 in Italy, and this was where the French column was invading the Bay of basically Naples. It's a little place down in Italy. Let's see if I can find it on the map. Actually, you might be able to. So you know where you're talking from. It was a place called Maida. Now, and if you know London at all, it has roots with Maida Vale in part of London. Bet you I can't find it, but it's around about this area, down on the toe here somewhere of Italy. This minor battle that not many people have heard of. What happens at this battle is significant, because a French column there, which was numerically superior to the British, was defeated basically by forming 2 lines. So they had 2 lines against the French typical sort of 3-line kind of thing. It was I spoke about it in the previous section, where they would have this standard unit of around about 30 troops wide and 3 ranks deep. But the British managed to defeat this numerically superior force by forming 2 lines. And they managed to do this because the British army were regulars. They trained properly. They were veterans. They had a better firing rate than the French. And so this was something that Wellington paid particular attention to. And remember, this is 1806, so it's this before Wellington is sent to the peninsula. And so what he's basically got then is this a kernel of an idea that with superior quality troops firing a pretty good weapon, well trained, forming a line and having the steadfastness to resist an approaching French column can defeat the column. Now, the only thing he needed to do, of course, was make sure that that line was protected until it was needed. And so it then develops into this idea of having a reverse slope away from cannon, so that you're not exposing your troops to unnecessary fire. Apart from that, so in terms of ordnance, there's not much difference between the armies. If there were any differences between the equipment of the armies, it was pretty small, very small variations. The majority of the infantry at Waterloo and in this campaign, of course, would be using a smooth-bore flintlock musket with sort of an angular, sort of sleeved bayonet. There was rifles being developed. They tended to be for the more elite troops because they were slower to load and they needed a lot more cleaning and maintenance. So they were for more the sort of skilled firers. A skilled trooper with a rifle could probably hit someone from at least from about 150 yards. But the smoothbore musket, you're looking maybe less than half the distance there, and you're therefore just looking for not accuracy but just volume. So that's why you have these lines of troops firing. So we're approaching Beaumont now, and this is basically the routes you can see below us. This road is where the middle column of the French advanced, basically on the morning, late evening of the 14th and into the morning of the 15th of June. They are coming up here, and this will be the main column. Advancing this way, they'd have there's another column over on the left, advancing that way, and different corps are taking these different routes but parallel to each other. We mentioned the corps system that they used, and this is the main thrust here. Napoleon would be bringing up his Imperial Guard behind these places, and these guys were setting off on the morning of the 15th, approaching into Beaumont here and crossing over. Beaumont basically represents the border at the time. There's been some variations on the actual border, not really it's not very it changed over time, but it doesn't really matter. The ordnance, the musket itself. So yes, it's something that could be basically fired 2 or 3 times in a minute with a skilled, with trained troops, depending on the rate. The rifles would be a lot less than that, probably even half of that time. But of course, the rates would depend on the quality of the troops. The rifles were predominantly a British kind of invention. The French army did experiment with the rifles during the Revolutionary Wars. But they didn't really. It wasn't a major part of their armory. It was deemed a non-standard weapon, basically, for the French. The Prussians, though, Hanoverians, Brunswicks, Nassau armies all contained riflemen. These were they tended to have this sort of non-standard kind of what they would call hunting rifles, Jaeger type style things. Not really sort of they weren't issued really. They were more a privately owned kind of thing. The rifles didn't ever tend to have a bayonet upon them, so they were very much just the sort of for the specialist kind of skirmisher person. So this is Beaumont. We are just crossing now into Belgium. If you're new to the channel, what I tend to do is I will just do a few little breaks here and there, just so that I can divide it up and put it out onto Twitch, onto YouTube. So I will just take a quick break here and have a glass of water. And when we come back, we'll continue looking at some of the ordnance that was used during the Napoleonic War, as we now start to approach Charleroi again, following the French army on the 15th of June 1815. So I will be back in a second.